100% a go away. I think it's pretty much at the moment it's them and Melbourne and sort of go on the rest.
I'd like to give a big shout out to the Hoodoo Gurus, who have given us permission to use part of their song That's My Team as our new podcast episode intro for all of their music. And whenever they are going live or performing live, head to their Facebook and their Instagram. The links will be in the description below. Be sure to give them a like and a follow as well on Facebook and Instagram. I've actually got quite an awesome guest for you guys. He played in the 03 Panthers Grand Final, played for a few times in New South Wales, most notably got sent off, and also played for Australia. His name's Trent Waterhouse. Thanks for joining us, mate.
No worries, mate. Thanks for having me.
No, too easy. So, I mean, obviously let's address the elephant in the room. You ended up getting sent off during one of your New South Wales games.
Straight to that. We're going straight to that, are we?
May as well, go in the deep end. What was that like for you?
Just get it out of the way.
And what was it also like playing for New South Wales in general, not just the send-off, of course?
Oh, it was awesome. Growing up as a kid, you watched those games in the 90s and 80s and 90s, and it was like the best day of the year coming from school. And when it was Origin Day, it was like Christmas Day. So it was always a massive thing when I got selected for New South Wales to put on that blue jersey. Was, mate, unbelievable.
I can imagine.
I never really wanted to get sent off.
I don't think anyone plans to do that. No, but I was going to say, it was Steve Price and Brett White. Something was going on there, and then, obviously shit happened. You ended up You ended up going and playing for Australia as well.
Yep.
Do you hold your time playing for New South Wales above Australia, or what was it like playing for Australia?
Well, I actually played for Australia before New South Wales. They were both massive honours, but I think playing professional sport, I think the best thing you can do, the pinnacle of that is representing your country. Just knowing all those great players that have wore that green and gold before you. There's so much history going back to 1908, so that was a huge honour for me, but New South Wales wasn't far behind.
No, that's fair. And then obviously not far behind that, maybe even more so, was winning the grand final in 03. Yeah. What was that like? Yeah. Because I've spoken to a lot of the 03 team, and as anyone knows, they were more or less written off at the start of the season. You guys had gone, I think, first two games you'd lost, and then you just sort of built that season. Yeah, well, what was that like, that whole season, and the game in particular for you?
Yeah, it was an amazing year. I debuted the year before, end of 2002, and I played the last 4 games, and I think we finished 12th or something.
Nothing too good,
though. I struggled the year before that. We got the Spoons, so I was just going into that next year, just thinking, maybe try to cement a spot in first grade, and get a few games here and there. I wasn't even a full-time player. I was still working.
Oh wow!
2003, and
yep.
Yeah, like you said, we started off a bit slow, but then we went on a run, and it just, the confidence just kept getting sky high, and things just, we just had everything sort of go our way. We didn't have many injuries, and mate,
that's always a good thing.
It was a fairy tale sort of year for me personally as well. I got picked on the Kangaroo Tour after that, and it's looking back, it's hard to believe it actually happened all in my sort of first full year.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, like winning a grand final, playing for Australia. Yeah, more or less all happened. Yeah, as you said, within your first calendar year of being a first grader. In particular, on the night of the grand final, walking onto the field or running onto the field, did the team and yourself sort of had that confidence of we've got this, like from the start of the game, sort of thing?
I think the whole week it was just there was no sort of tension or anything during the week. Everyone was just sort of lapping it up, and we had a confident group of young guys that come into the squad, and I think that sort of helped the older guys rejuvenate the older guys. And
like Girds and Sats and shit.
We fed off their experience, and they sort of fed off our no fear sort of confidence. And I sort of knew no one was really giving us a chance, but I knew deep down that we were a massive chance, and we finished first we got the minor premiership, so it was not as if we fluked our way into the grand final.
Yeah, it wasn't like coming from 8th or anything sort of thing.
Yeah. So I just knew, and Langy just had a way of making you confident. You know, he come out of the videos. He wasn't the most technical coach, Langy, but he just had a way of breaking things down and just making you feel confident, which is what a lot of the great coaches do. You know, but yeah, we just walked out of that field. And, yeah, I remember the national anthem getting played, and it was pissing down rain.
Oh, it was. It was bucketing.
Up at a mountain of just people, and I was like, "How does this? Like, this is as good as it gets."
Yeah, and then it gets even better 80 minutes later.
Yeah.
Speaking of, so now go ahead.
Yeah, it was just an amazing night, and it was amazing just time of our lives. Like, it was just the whole week, the whole season was just very special. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. And during that game, obviously, a legendary tackle took place from Sats. A lot of people say that was the turning point when, you know, you guys realised you'd had it won. Was that personally what you thought, or was it, you know, one other bloke I spoke to said, nah, it was Rooney's second try sort of thing. What helped solidify in your mind, lads, we've got it won?
Well, if you ask Satsy, he'll tell you the tackle changed everything.
For sure.
I reckon he tripped over, so... No, that was a huge moment. That was definitely a huge moment of the game. Yeah, it was on a nice edge up until then. And, you know, I was sort of going tit for tat, and that definitely gave us a boost. And yeah, well, once Rudy scored that second try, I knew we got him. You know, so I think there might have been 10 minutes left. So I just knew we weren't going to get beat from there.
Yeah. Yeah, so like it would have been, I'd say, a combo of the both. You know, the Sats tackle, which really helped shift the momentum to you guys, and then would have given you guys a bit of a boost, like, fuck yeah, we can do this, sort of thing. Yeah,
exactly right. I knew going at half time, I knew sort of we'd been on top of that first half. I think it was we were up 6-0 at half time, I think.
I think so, yeah. You guys got a spray from Joel Clinton at half time, though.
Yeah, because I reckon deep down they thought they were just going to blast away, but in that first half, and you could see that when they kicked off, they were just, it was like they were getting shot.
Oh, that first tackle with Joel Clinton, and holy shit.
Yeah, so they were just, I think they thought we were just going to go to water, but you know, we took the medicine and we started to get on top, and I think that sort of broke their spirit a little bit, and coming out after half time, and yeah, I just knew we just had the confidence to go on with it. I knew Gary was kicking well in the wet weather, and we didn't really put a foot wrong. We played sort of dry with the football, didn't make mistakes, and just wore them down.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And speaking of the Panthers this year, if anything, it's their best chance of winning a grand final this year, as I'm sure you've been watching. I've even said to my mates, you know, watch out for the Panthers, even before they went on that 9-in-a-row run. You know, like, what are your thoughts on the current team and how they could go this year, given showing their form so far?
Well, 100% they go all the way. You know, I think it's pretty much, at the moment, it's them and Melbourne, and it's sort of bail up the rest.
Yeah.
But in saying that, you know, they've got to stay healthy. There's 6 weeks of the season to go, so
anything can happen in that 6 weeks.
They're in with a massive chance, just the way they're playing. You know, their halfbacks just gone to a new level this year, and you know, their defence is unbelievable. Their goal line defence is premiership material for sure. So
yeah, agreed.
Fingers crossed they can keep it going and go all the way, because it'd be awesome to see.
Yeah,
you know, out there getting another title. It's been a while. So.
it's been since you played is what it's been.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, if anything, this is definitely their best chance. I will say all season up until. Obviously now it's more or less they're definitely premiership favourites now, but about 4 weeks ago I was like, nah, it'll be Penrith versus someone in the grand final, whether it's the Roosters, the Storm, Raiders, whoever. But I'm like, nah, Para aren't the contenders this year. Penrith are the contenders in my opinion, you know. So So what are you doing these days with yourself after retirement?
Well, I'm a firefighter now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I've been probably 2 years. It was something.
Well, so you would have been you would have fought the fires that happened last year and this year, right?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, we did get sent out at the bushfires. We got sent down south to Borley Point.
Okay, well, thank you. Holy shit.
Yeah,
But continue,
no,
sorry.
mate, it was it was pretty devastating to see the see what the devastation it caused. It was it was horrendous. But we got down there and we sort of helped a few people out, and they're rebuilding down there now, and hopefully we don't see fires like that again.
I hope we don't. Yeah. Again, yeah, thank you. And what's it like being a firefighter, and especially being on the front line of what just happened in particular?
Yeah, it's a great job, mate. It's been the perfect sort of transition for me after footy. You're in that team environment. You got to work together. You're training pretty hard. You got to work together in high pressure situations. So it's been a perfect transition for me. And if any other ex-footballers were thinking about doing it, I couldn't recommend it highly enough. So it's been a great job for me. And it does get full on at times, but you do your training, you trust your training, and
you trust the others next to you because they're trained just as well as you are.
Yeah, that's it. It's like being a football team. You just got to trust your teammates and trust that they're ready to get the job done. And it's a great gig.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, it sounds, as you said, like the perfect fit for you, going from a team environment to another team environment. And do you think that minus the firefighting sort of stuff, you may have struggled with retirement after rugby league, or do you think you would have found a groove like you did with firefighting regardless?
Well, I've been retired probably 3 years. So I got the fiery. So it's a long process. It's sort of hard. It's pretty hard to get in. So you got to sort of learn the process. And I did that, and it took me 3 years. But I had a few other gigs here and there. I played down the coast.
In Thurrool, wasn't it? Thurrool Butchers?
Yeah, so we live down here now. They're loving life down here, but that was great. I still got to play a bit of footy and be in that team environment, and it was just great to see these young players that genuinely play for the love of the game.
Yeah,
get to play with them, and it's a decent comp down here. Timmy Grant's down here playing now. He's playing
wow, yep.
That was great for me, and I did a few other little things here and there for work, but it was a struggle. You do miss it. The first sort of year was probably the hardest. You're sort of part of a team and part of something, and it's all over. But I just kept working and played a bit of footy down here and come out the other end and loving life now.
No, that's good. That's good to hear. And obviously, while speaking of the other end, you went over to the other end of the fucking world and played in England in the Super League. Yeah. What was that like, playing for Warrington, winning a Challenge Cup, and all that sort of stuff that comes with it?
Yeah, that was awesome. It was something I always wanted to do. I went on a few tours over there and had an awesome time. And it was something I was always planning on doing. And the opportunity come up at the end of 2011.
Yep.
Warrington offered us a 3-year deal. A great club, and I jumped at the chance. And like you said, won a Challenge Cup, played at Wembley, and played in a couple of grand finals as well at Old Trafford. Two of the most iconic grounds, in the world.
Yeah,
it was awesome. Yeah.
Wow, that's honestly amazing. Some fun sort of questions now. How do you like your steak cooked?
Medium rare.
Medium rare? Yeah, no, that's the best way to be. What's your beer of choice at the moment?
Be drinking that Byron Bay.
Okay, any good?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Okay.
Very nice.
Yeah, nice. What's your current show that you're binging on Netflix?
Netflix.
Or show in general that you just really love?
I don't know. What have I watched on Netflix? The Ozarks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll definitely be sure to check that out, because I can't remember who I spoke to the other week, but they also said they just recently loved watching the Ozarks. So so that's 2 people's recommendations. So I'm definitely going to look into that one now. All right. So I've got a question from actually one of our sponsors. He's a diehard Panthers tragic. Hey, anyone who's listening, SkyeSpark Electrical. If you need electrical work on the Central Coast, go through them. He asks, if you could give your teenage self advice based on what you know now, what advice would you give yourself?
As in a footy sort of aspect? Or
let's go, yeah. Well, let's go both. One for footy and one for life. It's a tough one.
I don't know. Maybe train a bit harder. I wasn't the best trainer.
Okay.
Train a bit harder. Do more extras or something. For footy, footy wise, but
Yep.
life, just don't stress out too much. Don't take things too serious.
Okay.
Don't let little minor things get you down. Especially this year, the way this year's going. Yeah, just try and go with the flow.
Yeah, try and take it as it comes, sort of thing.
Things are never as bad as they seem. It's not, some things aren't worth stressing about. So probably just don't stress too much about things.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Who had the weirdest ritual or routine pre-game that you remember during your time at Penrith? Did anyone put their socks on a certain way, or that sort of stuff?
I played with a guy in England.
Okay.
That was a bit OCD.
Okay. What did he have to do?
So he used to put a heap of strapping on, and so he'd have to wrap it certain amount of times. And
okay.
Around his arms, around his legs, so it all had to be. It was pretty fine. It all had to be a certain number.
Wow. Okay.
If you wrapping his arms and that, counting how many times the blokes be going 10, 4, 6, and he start ripping it off and start again. So that's probably the most full-on one I've seen. But
okay. And did you have any routines?
A lot of blokes were superstitious, I think. Like blokes have a win and have to do everything exactly the same the next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you superstitious or had routine or rituals?
Not really. No. I've seen how would do blokes' heads in. So I was just whatever.
No, that's fair enough. Because I know I spoke to Mick Crocker a few weeks ago, and he said without fail, as soon as that 2-minute bell would go, he'd have a spew. Even after I remember
playing with Croc, he'd be jaw wrenching his head off.
Yep.
It actually, mate, you start feeling a bit crook like he was that bad. All these guys go up alarm a couple of times.
Wow, yeah, no, he said, it was always a spew. It said at first it started out as nerves, but it just became routine after a while.
He was probably one of the worst spewers before a game I've seen.
Fuck. So. Wow.
I think we played that Legends of the League thing.
Yep.
It was still good, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I met him at Legends.
It was a habit.
Yeah, I met him at Legends of the League last year, and he said he still does it, and I'm like, shit. Speaking of Legends of Legends of League, what does it mean to you, and what was it like for you to be a part of that?
Yeah, I loved it. It was took me about a month to get over it, but it was pretty. We got up there thinking, we'll just muck around. And the first game kicked off, and it was on one big shot, and then that was it. It was on. So it was pretty. Yeah, it was a pretty decent standard. So it was great to get up there and catch up with all the boys from our sort of era.
Did you play for the Penrith team last year or the Barbarians the years before?
I was supposed to, but we ended up booking a trip and sort of stuffed the dates up and clashed, but I was filthy. I missed out on it. I was looking forward to getting up there with the Penny boys, but hopefully they go again with it next year. I'll be
well, this year probably can't with COVID, but hopefully fingers crossed next year. So because I'll be there regardless if they have it on.
Weekend.
Well, it was
after.
I can imagine. Which team in the Super League and in the NRL was the toughest for you to go up against personally, mentally, and physically?
NRL definitely Roosters.
Okay.
They had an awesome pack there back in the day with big Adrian Morley and
he was a unit.
Fitzgibbon, Ricketson, so
Crocker.
They were always big and fit, and they'd be up in your face all game. So definitely the Roosters, NRL.
Mm-hmm.
And probably either Wigan or St Helens.
Okay.
Overseas, they were like local derby games over there, so they're big games. They were always tough. Wigan's a powerhouse club, and so is St Helens. So
yeah.
I could probably split those two. So they were great to play, like great atmosphere. And the fans over there are awesome. They're real tribal. Yeah,
they say like a crowd of 10,000 can sound like a grand final day. They're that loud.
Yeah, well, the grounds are perfectly set up for it. You get all the away fans in the one area, and it's they're always singing
and then the other team's fans are singing back at them.
It's unreal. I loved it, mate. It was a great experience over there. So definitely Wigan and St Helens were the big guns over there.
No, that's fair enough. Looking back on your career, what would be your personal highlight of your career?
Probably the grand final, mate. I think. Closely followed by playing for the country and New South Wales, but that's what you play for. You play from when you're a junior, you play to win grand finals, and to do that so early on in my career was unbelievable. Probably took it a little bit for granted, thinking, this is going to happen all the time, and we never got back there. So, mate, that was amazing. That was an amazing time, and it was a good week after it too. So that was good fun.
It would have been a great week after.
Yeah, that's definitely right up there, mate.
No, that's fair. I can imagine. That's more or less all the questions and stuff I've listed. Is there anything? Actually, I just thought of one. Any advice for any youngsters who'd love to try and make it in the big league one day?
Yeah, just keep enjoying yourself. Don't feel the pressure of outside pressure. Just enjoy playing with your mates and having fun and work hard. Listen to your coaches and work on the things you need to work on and get better at the things you're good at. So just work hard, but just have fun. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. And whatever. If you're good enough, you'll make it. Definitely.